Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. On this segment, let's talk about Jake Paul versus Michael the Count Bisping in a boxing match. Things are kind of heating up between him and Jake Paul again. I'm going to go over a brief timeline of the events. Let's get into this. Alright, so let's start from the beginning. Way back, I believe last year, Jake Paul and his team had reached out to Michael Bisping for a potential boxing match. Bisping talked about this on his podcast. I think he did an interview with Ariel Helwani. Bisping didn't seem too into it, but obliged Jake Paul, and his sentiments were, if you want to do this, I'll knock you out within 2 rounds, and I would beat you and your brother on the same night. Radio silence from Jake Paul after that and his team. Fast forward 2 Woodley fights later, Jake Paul stirs the pot again. He has an apparent hit list, and Michael Bisping is on it. I'm going to read a couple of tweets, a few back and forths. Jake Paul, Dear Bisping, I challenge you to stop hosting your struggling podcast, get licensed to fight and box me. Let's see if that UFC belt and all the respect you have can help you beat me in a boxing match. This is Bisping in reference to Jake Paul's hit list. Come on Jake Paul, you do know that I'm about your size. Surely that excludes me from your quote hit list. Jake Paul had put out a tweet. These are not in order, just responses. I would knock you out worse than Hendo. You're an easy fight, but show me you can get licensed and I will show you $1 million plus pay-per-view. Eye emojis. Using this emoji because Bisping can't use it. Laugh out loud. This is a direct response to that tweet. Bisping with the crying emoji, the eyeball emoji. Yeah, listen, 1 eye, 2 eyes, I want a world championship, and more importantly, the respect of the fight community. Sadly, little Jakey, that's 2 things you'll never do, ever. Let that sink in. I think the last tweet that I read from Bisping was send location. Mike did address this on his podcast. He doesn't really care, to be honest with you. He has several successful podcasts or channels, whatever you want to call it. He has a touring speaking engagement, a pretty nifty UFC gig. He's dabbling in acting. Bisping has a lot going on. Just had a cool documentary release that did well. He doesn't have to fight Jake Paul. Well, box, not fight. Fight would be an absolute massacre. Wouldn't even be competitive. Bisping would just kill Jake Paul in a UFC cage. Boxing match, given that Bisping is 43, has 1 functional eye, 2 bad knees, 2 replacement knees. Jake Paul being younger, having the money and resources to train his butt off, best of everything. Say what you will about Jake Paul, he definitely has power. But you know, he's a boxing novice as well. In a boxing match, given all of these variables, it would be a lot more competitive than a mixed martial arts fight. Mixed martial arts fight wouldn't even be worth watching. That's how one-sided that beatdown would be. Bisping just brutalizing him. Boxing match, I give Jake Paul 3-7 ratio to beat Bisping in a boxing match. Yes, I still believe the Count would put a whooping on Jake Paul in his own supposed realm. 1 eye, 2 bad knees, wear and tear. Money would still be on Bisping. Mike got the size, he got the reach, he got the massive experience over Jake Paul. Watching Jake Paul gas against Woodley in that second fight, I mean, Bisping would just put it on him. He would walk him down, use that classic Bisping high volume style, pick Jake Paul apart, and then going for the kill once he starts fading. TKO Michael Bisping. Can Jake Paul land something big? Sure. Can he knock Michael Bisping out? Sure. Likely? I don't think so. And if he does, I mean, what does it prove? You're fighting a guy who's 43 years old, who's had a long, storied, brutal career, 1 functional eye, 2 bad knees. Do you see a pattern here with Jake Paul? The payday would be nice for Michael Bisping. I'm sure he thinks it's easy work. That's what's enticing him to entertain this whole fiasco. I personally wouldn't care to see them fight or box. I don't think Bisping needs it, to be honest. He's kind of like lowering himself. But we'll see what happens. Jake knows how to hype things up. He knows how to get attention on himself. He's probably the most successful troll on the planet. But yeah, once again, money would still be on Michael Bisping. You guys let me know in the comment section. Do you even want to see this boxing match? Who would win and why? What do you think of like this whole fiasco and situation? It could be just Jake Paul stirring the pot again for attention and nothing comes of it. But we'll see what happens. If you guys enjoyed the video, first time at the channel, hit that subscribe button, like and share. Appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys on the next segment.